Hey everyone, how's it going? I'll be getting started here in just a couple of minutes. Kind of rolling into the stream here on a post-snow day. Trying to figure out what the heck's up with my character and build, like usual. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Got a few points to spend, I guess. Ooh, I'll take that. Alright, I haven't actually logged into Argo's characters in quite some time, so I'm kind of, it's sort of like the day after a frat party here on my character sheet where I'm like, wait a second, who am I? What's all this stuff? Do I need to sell? Am I supposed to be doing something? Apparently the answer to many of those things is yes. Hello! Welcome to the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream here on twitch.tv/DDO stream, youtube.com/Dungeons & Dragons/live, and facebook.com/DDO Unlimited. I'm DDO's Community Manager Cordovan, and I'm checking to make sure all of our video is going good. It looks like I can be seen on Twitch and Facebook, I think. Hey, Woodrow, Zur, Semus, Nox, Forehand, Druids, Woody, Cosmic. Ooh, by the way, I actually have kind of an answer for your Oculus question. How do I go live with this game? Martin asks over on Facebook. I use a program called XSplit. You can also use a freebie called OBS, and frankly, there's a whole bunch more out there. And then you go to Facebook Live, and it'll get you like the key in that you need to stream live. So I would Google the Facebook Live and then get the one of those freebie programs just to check things out. Hey, welcome, welcome. No idea what I'm doing yet. Fortunately, this character is not at the level 4 keep, because I'm at level 15 here, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to run. But we'll figure something out here in just a little bit. Let me get to a bunch of news here while I take care of some maintenance before actually figuring out what's going on. So we have a bunch of stuff happening. I don't know. I guess when last we spoke, we're not even Thanksgiving yet. So it's actually been quite a. Seems like it was a year ago, but it's actually only been a week. So there we go. Might hang on to that. All right, so first off, thank you very much for your support for Standing Stone Games here over our Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales. Those are now done, and we're getting ready to kick off tomorrow. We could try Welcome to Sharn. Sure, sounds fine to me. All right, so tomorrow, our December deals kick off. That is something that many of you may be familiar with. Every week for December, we do a whole bunch of special deals, things at like, say, 35%, 50%, and 75% off, typically. And it should be a pretty good time. So, you know, that's what's up for this week in terms of sales, so stay tuned. I can't tell you what they are yet, sorry to say. But we'll be coming tomorrow, and we'll have more information on that when we go live with it. So that's what's up in terms of sales this week. The other thing I could mention is our bonus for the week that kicks off tomorrow and runs through Sunday, December 8th, will be a 10% heroic and epic XP boost. This is not the buddy boost, this is just the flat ol' 10% XP boost. So that kicks off this weekend. Another thing I would mention is I want to thank everyone very much for supporting me last Friday. I did a special Movember live stream on DDO Stream. You can find the archive video over on the Twitch page if you care. And we got a lot of support. And this weekend we were able to cross our $2,000 goal, so thank you, thank you, thank you. With the help of DDO and our Lunchtime communities, we were able to cross both our Extra Life and Movember goals this year, and that's huge. Makes a big difference to a lot of people's lives. So thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that. The other piece I'd mention is I've got a lot of work to do yet, because I have to get back in touch with, I think at last count, it's 470 some people. Seriously, folks, 470 some people I have to private message back and make sure they get all their codes and all that sort of thing. So it's going to be a little while, but I am hoping to get cracking on it just about every available night in the coming, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks. Let's say before Christmas I want to get everything done, and that seems like a fairly realistic goal to achieve, provided I can work some late nights here. So, I recognize some of you have been waiting patiently, and your patience is starting to wear a little thin on where's your stuff. I appreciate that. I'm working as quickly as I can to get it all to you, and hopefully we'll... Dude, did you see that? I rolled 100. 15,000 XP, major mysterious remnant boost, and a crimson crest of wave. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I know that it's you guys have been waiting, guys and gals have been waiting very patiently, probably more patiently than you should have. But the reality is it's just taken me a little while because I got a lot of stuff to do. So. Huh. Yeah. We rolled 100. Got a Crimson Crest of Wave on the gold roll. By the way, if you think this is dev luck, you should have seen my daily dice over the weekend. It was pretty poor.
Isabet tells you to take the elevator up to the terrace, then speak to Lucien Vaughn.
Still waiting on spell ingredient bags. That's going to be a challenge. One of the big challenges with that is going to be that the tech does not currently allow for things to be used generally directly from those bags. So if we were to come up with some kind of, let's just say, some kind of way that people could, we would make a spell component bag. You'd have to take all your ingredients out before you would be able to use them for casting, and that's kind of of questionable benefit, shall we say. So we have not really pursued that yet. Hopefully at some point we'll have that tech in place, but it's not a priority at the moment. We have a bunch of other things we got to work on first. So who knows when or if that'll ever happen. But I hear ya. Sure would be nice. The other piece I would mention is that Festivalt is just about here. So here's the plan that we have so far. Assuming things check out this afternoon, our intention is to go live with update 44.1 tomorrow morning. So you can expect something probably around an 8 to noonish downtime. Maybe we'll be up before then, you know, see how it all goes. But something like that. Update 44.1, and I'll actually read off some of those release notes here in a little bit since we're pretty close to being done with that at this point. And the only thing really left to check out is to make sure that all the stuff that we say is in there's actually in there. And assuming that checks out here today, then we should be ready to go live tomorrow. So that's the first thing. And the reason we want to get that out tomorrow is because it includes, say, the new Festivalt cookies. So, if all goes according to plan, tomorrow morning, basically when we come up from our downtime, the Festivalt cookies should start dropping. Then, the Jester of Festivalt should arrive a week later, on December 12th. Let me quick pull up a calendar here, and the way we have it currently scheduled would have the coin drops end on January 6th. That would be a Monday. And the Jester of the Festival would be gone on Monday, December 13th. Typically what we do is we have coins drop a week early, and then the Jesters stick around a week after the coins stop dropping, so that people can turn in their stuff before the end of the event. And so that's the plan. If everything goes according to plan, coins should start appearing tomorrow. Jester will arrive a week later, and then it'll be the coins will be turned off on Monday, January 6th, with the Jester heading back home on Monday, January 13th. And then the final piece that I guess I could mention in terms of news that I know is off the top of my head is we're aware of some server performance issues, shall we say, in recent days/weeks. And that's something that is a top priority to get investigated and worked on. As soon as we have some good info to pass along, I will make sure to get it to you. At the moment, we're in the investigatory stages still. We have one possible lead on a thing that could be a thing, and that would be we're looking into a report that maybe guild airship instances are not collapsing as they ought. And if that ends up being true, that would be a pretty good cause for degraded server performance. If you know, like, say your cargo hold never disappears, and then every time someone joins a guild airship, a new instance of it gets created. So then over course of days and weeks, you got literally thousands of instances that are just kind of clogging up the system. That would explain a lot, but we don't actually have that borne out with proof yet. That's just something we're hunting for to see if that's a possible culprit. We have a little evidence to indicate that it might be the thing, what's going on. However, there's more to it than that as well, because it's not just DDO that's having a few kind of significant server performance issues. It's also happening on the Lochro side. So if it's happening with both games, then that pretty clearly indicates there's an environmental issue going on as well. So whether or not it's a combination of things, all attributed to the environment, attributed partially on DDO side to the environment, partially to another thing, that's what we're working through right now. And as soon as we have more information, we will let you know. Because, like I say, it's a top priority for us to obviously make sure that we're all having a good time in game. I myself generally was not that bad, actually. This weekend I played, on Friday on Kyber, and then some this weekend elsewhere as well. And I had a little bit of rubber banding, a little bit of hitching, and a couple of kind of pretty big lag spikes, like a couple second kind of freezes. So, we all know something's going on. It's just a matter of figuring out what that something is and then doing the work to correct it. So hopefully we'll have great news for you in the coming days, but we'll see. Can't make promises that haven't happened yet. What's up with the Dark Sun Crimson Lands expansion? I don't know. I think perhaps, Tiffany, maybe you're confusing Dungeons & Dragons Online with Dungeons & Dragons, the tabletop game. We are a MMO based on Dungeons & Dragons, but we don't have Dark Sun, so that's why I'm guessing it's a tabletop thing. Which is totally cool. In terms of what's up with it, I don't know. I actually am not a big Dark Sun person myself, so... Issues with boarding guild ship, finding it empty and having to exit and reboard. Again, that's another kind of thing that might indicate that is indeed the cause of what we're looking at. But until we actually know that for sure, I don't want to make any promises or lead people astray, so... Yes, there is at the very least, I'd say it's highly likely we'll be doing a server restart tomorrow. But it's more likely we're just going to have the patch, and that would be update 44.1. So, and that, by its very nature, is a restart as well. All right, let me head back back to chat. And I haven't forgotten about that Oculus question. Yeah, Druid's Fire. We do weekly December deals for both games here, so you can absolutely expect that to hit the Locher side as well. Were my 2 Sharn intro voiceovers removed? I don't know, actually. I admit I have not heard it in quite some time. It would have, if they're still active, it's only going to play when your character first goes into Sharn. So if you've been to Sharn before, they're not going to play. But those DM voice lines were always intended to be placeholder. So I don't actually know if they got removed or if they're in, but I just haven't heard it because all my characters have been to Sharn already. They were just some kind of, frankly, last second fill-in lines. Not that I minded doing them. I love doing that kind of thing. But they were never really intended to be permanent. In regard to, are we going to have to wait till tomorrow, or will we do a downtime today and tomorrow? I think that determination is not yet determined, but if we do need to do some kind of emergency work today, we're certainly not opposed to doing it if we have to. Clearly, we'd rather not have 2 downtimes in like a space of 12 hours, but if we gotta, then we gotta, right? So.
The description
this week's bonus is 10% heroic and epic XP. Sorry, Growler. It's funny. I remember very distinctly people telling me that the kobold cookies were junk because they only worked in challenges. Clearly, there are people who feel differently to that. And are saying instead that we want the kobold cookies because we want that jump. All I can really say to that is every year we try to take people's feedback on the cookies and, change up the things that they didn't like last year and keep the things that they did like. Always up and to the right is the plan here, so don't know. But we could. It would be too late for this year, obviously, being as we're working on a patch for tomorrow that would already is already basically done in terms of what changes can be added to it. But could we potentially next year bring back the kobold jump cookies? Sure.
You step into Zelf Prospire's tidy office. The Inquisitive calls out to you. Step inside, quickly. There are eyes everywhere.
I don't know if we're really going to be able to provide a whole lot more public hardcore league data in terms of quests and deaths and all that sort of thing. I like the idea of it. Oh, how about I'm ready to go. There we go.
Zelf pulls a switch and nods toward the back of the building. You hear the scrape of stone on stone as the concealed
Sorry, I
back
lost my
door
train of thought here.
slides open.
Hardcore league data. I don't know that we're going to be able to provide, certainly not as much data as people would love to see, because it's kind of awesome. So I totally hear you on the desire to get as much infos as possible. I don't know though, because we can't really give numbers, right?
Despite the slurred words, you've learned more about the Dask Boromir rivalry from the poor man. You wonder what the other residents of the neighborhood might have to say.
So then nothing is going to be fixed. No. I mean, hopefully that impression wasn't the one I left. But if so, let me reiterate that working to resolve this issue is one of our top priorities at the moment.
You push open the door to the apartment. The surprisingly well-decorated rooms show signs of a struggle. Your stomach clenches in anticipation as you near the crime scene. After examining the corpse, you can see that he was killed by a poisoned crossbow bolt. His last gambling ticket lies just out of reach. Felon had just won big, cleaning up on a match in an underground fighting ring down in the Cogs. Felon must have spent his recent winnings digging himself out of debt. Imagine meeting your end right after getting yourself clear. At least he died in the black. Despite clear attempts to make this look like a break-in, all of Felon's valuables are still in their proper places. As you
Need a cookie with DDO? That might be a little OP. Although theoretically we could do it on like maybe a gold cookie or something if the numbers were low enough. I have, Growler. Seen that thread from someone who is terminally ill and is asking for some, like super rare raid loot. It's something that the team's been looking at. I don't know, man.
You managed to make it past
there's
the thugs blocking your way.
It's a bit of a slippery slope, but none of us are conceptually opposed to it. But I don't know. None of us are conceptually opposed to it. Let me just say that. I just don't know if once we start down that path, what happens when other people start coming forward saying, well, now what do we do? The unfortunate reality is I get similar kind of requests through private message and elsewhere for generally guildies and that sort of thing, pretty much about once every couple of weeks. And it's one of the suckiest things to kind of say no to. But at the same time, I don't know. Once we start down the path of, hey, if you're terminally ill, we just start giving you all the raid loot you want. Where does it end, right? And how do we prove it? Do we even want to prove it? Why would we want to prove it? But then do we just take people at face value? Where do you stop, right? So I don't know. It's a real tricky scenario. But conceptually, none of us are opposed to it. On the surface, it's like, oh, yeah, sure, of course. It's just when you actually sit down to start looking at it, you're like,
The doors to the gambling hall are wide open and its chairs are empty.
The next planned major update, I would say, would be probably 44.1, and that's tomorrow. But update 45 will be in the new year, and that is currently expected to... I better not say it, sorry.
You also notice several
I think we've said...
The incriminating information in this
Pretty sure we've said that Alchemist is coming in the next update, which would be update 45. So I think I'm safe enough to say that, assuming things go well, Alchemist will be in the next update. Now I just jinxed it. I don't have the patch notes on the web yet. That should presumably happen this afternoon, assuming everything checks out.
Strike down the last of this group of Dask thugs and check to make sure there are no more nearby.
But I'll actually
Don't
read them
believe
here
the
in just a
way
little
you
bit.
came. You've learned all you can about these first 2 crimes. You head back to the Wolf Gate, where Zealot awaits your results. Zealot unlocks the gate, revealing a small lane that burrows deeper into the heart of Cog's Gate.
That's some funny stuff. With no data, you have the only R10 completion. No, yeah, okay, so it was on one of the recent DDO cast interviews that Torque and crew did with DDO cast on the Hardcore League, where they mentioned that not only did people run Terminal Delirium on the Hardcore League server, but people even freaking beat it on Reaper. And I'm just like, what? No. I literally jaw drop. I was like, how? How in the world did they get past the mirror room? How did they get past the balloon room? How did they do it? But they did it. So, I guess if you got people defeating Terminal Delirium on Reaper difficulty on the Hardcore League without dying, then I guess that tells you that people can beat just about anything in this game with enough skill, gear, and knowledge. Uh-oh. Oh, that might be the end. Horses with no reins and stirrups. Well, you know, I mean, actually, we have some interesting stuff happening on the mount front, which I'll get to in just a second when I go over the notes. Nah, I would say Dark Sun is probably not going to be the next expansion. Yep. Alright, people are not following me, so I guess I will follow them. I'm sorry, Chiff, I don't have any way to... I'm a barbarian here. I don't have any way to restore you.
The door to the pawn shop is unlocked, just as with the other crime scenes. Inside, the shopkeeper's body lies forgotten alongside all the other cast-offs in her shop. A different body, but the same song. A crossbow bolt dipped in poison, and a palm covered in slashes. Yet
At this time,
a new detail catches your
we
eye.
do not have plans to do the
Small packages lying in the altar.
season pass this year. I know that's a little wishy-washy of a statement, because I don't want to tie the hands of future decision making, but certainly not this year.
What connects all these gruesome crimes?
Kill faster! What's the cosmetic? Oh, the cosmetic I referred to a few weeks ago was the Borderlands Warrior cosmetic outfit.
Armed halfling thugs falls.
When I saw that, I was like, no way.
Another alley stretches before you. The more you learn about the victims, the more questions you have. You can only hope that Zulkus Crowspire holds the answers you've been seeking.
Generally, when you talk about things like major known artifacts in the Dungeons and Dragons world, it tends to be pretty...
I hope that Zulkus is willing to answer your questions.
You have to be particularly careful, shall we say, about the way you approach that stuff, because you can't have everyone in game, say, running around with deck of many things, or, you know, trying to think what some of the other kind of big names are. But that kind of thing. There's some kind of lore restrictions on having 1,000 of a rare artifact just kind of floating around in a space. So, actually, never mind. Sorry, I need to go use that shrine. Fresh out of No Shave Bro? Yeah, that's right. So on Friday I did my Movember live stream for DDO and elsewhere, and we managed to cross the goal of $2,000, which is amazing, and I thank you very much. This will be year 6 or 7 on Movember, and so that's very cool. And I did. As soon as I could, I shaved that mustache off, and I don't know. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. Historically, so as you guys are well aware, I got kind of a genetic recessed chin here. And it's just, when you look at my my family, it's just genetic. We all have that kind of thing on my dad's side. And I've been cursed / gifted with it. So I have always sort of felt that having a beard sort of frames my face a little bit better, I guess. But this year in particular, I guess I've crossed the line of gray. I actually have some people saying, keep it shaved because you look a lot younger. And so I'm reconsidering whether or not I should actually grow a beard again. But I'm still leaning toward doing it. Mostly because I'm super lazy, and the idea of having to shave all the time is like, maybe not? But we'll see. I don't know. It is true. You know, genetically, I at least have been gifted with pretty thick hair here. You know, I've got a little bit of thinning like everyone does as they approach the middle years. But I have not gone bald. Not that there's anything wrong with being bald. It's, you know, it's not like anyone can do anything about it. So it's, you know, it's fine. But it's true. Genetically, I guess I got gifted with non-balding. So. New subject, please. Yeah. Get some Just for Men. I don't know. I've never really been... That sounds like a lot of work, too. Yeah. Great. Oh yeah, secular. Totally still in my 20s. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. That's me. And by 20s, I mean it's the 2000s, right? So. Grow old disgracefully. I love it. Yeah, TL Lewis, we are aware of the kind of lag issues, and we are working on it.
Oddly enough,
It is
she
a
doesn't
top
seem
priority.
surprised to see you. Instead, she motions for you to enter.
Man, I wasn't in my 20s when I was in my 20s. You know what I mean? Yep.
You stoop down to search the contents of Nahram's pack. Looks like he was fleeing for his life when the murderer got to him. More slashes on the palm. And this time, you see the pattern. You wonder how you could have missed such an important clue. The slashes were literally the killer's signature. Whoever did this wasn't shy about letting people know. You find a security ledger embossed with
Terry,
penotectic symbol.
I think we largely do what you are suggesting, which is to create a special weapon for paladins, like a favored weapon to add holy damage to a weapon of choice that a paladin would bind to himself. I mean, that's largely what holy weapon is. The spell.
The victims all worked for Vaughn and were told that they knew
It's not quite that, but it's pretty close to being in the ballpark. Theoretically, we could revisit Cormyrian weapons. I don't know that there's a lot of interest or demand that we do it. And that's kind of pretty old, older content after all, but... that. Any word on the Alchemist Iconic? Nothing really new to announce there. Alright, let me... quick go through, while we're doing this here, the update 44.1 release notes as currently listed. This is not publicly available, this is just internally. So consider this to be a work in progress. There may be things I'm going to say that don't end up being in the build, and there may be things that are in the build that I don't end up saying. But at least as of 12:44 p.m. on December 4th, here will be the notes. In the feat section, the precision, the feat, will no longer passively apply its 5% bonus to hit calculations. Now only apply when it's toggled on. Defensive fighting, no longer passively applying a negative 5% penalty to hit, and only applying when the toggle is active. This came up on the forums, was it Friday? Friday, Monday, something like that? Where people, someone had started to did some deep math, and found a bug that we were able to track down and correct. So what was actually happening is the defensive fighting feat, which is, you know, auto-granted to a whole ton of people, was not functioning on toggle. It was just applying regardless, which meant frankly, everyone who had defensive fighting feat was getting a negative 5% to hit without getting the benefit. Similarly with precision, it was giving you a plus 5% regardless of whether or not you had it toggled. So what we're doing here is going to be a net neutral for most folks and a potential net benefit for others. And that would be in the form of getting that negative 5% to only apply when you actually have defensive fighting toggled on, and getting the plus 5% you would get for precision to apply only when toggled on. Wands, quivers, and missile weapons will now work with the Wish of Inheritance. When we debuted the Wish of Inheritance last week for Black Friday, a bug was discovered where some of the kind of outliers were not working with it. Thankfully, it wasn't eating them and giving you nothing or anything. What it was doing is
It's only a matter of time before she and those adventurers come barging in here.
was only working with regular weapons. But that'll be fixed as of potentially tomorrow. So if you have been in a position where you've been wanting to, say, put the Quiver of Alacrity and use the Wish of Inheritance with that, that should work after tomorrow. Same with the Brimstone Verge wand. The one item that will continue to not work, however, because it's technically working as intended, is the Blade of Jack Jibbers. And the reason that's working as intended is that the Wish of Inheritance only works on equipable items, and the Blade of Jack Jibbers is not actually equipable. Alright, the Wish of Inheritance will no longer go into ingredients bags. That may be a bummer for some people, net positive for others, but overall we had enough people who purchased one and then found themselves unable to find it because they didn't know it was in their green bag, that we kind of had to do it just to help customer service out, if nothing else.
But I'll keep going. I'll move on to the next crime and the next.
The in-game description of the Traveler's Terrific Trunk will now properly state it gives Sovereign 1 XP elixirs and Major Slayer boost potions. Avard's Black Tentacles will now be easier to cast when you have a foe selected. It will no longer be placed in an inconvenient manner to yourself or thine enemies. Monster Manual deed requirements have been increased for bears, dretches, and mudmen. On the mount side, this is may be very exciting to some, including myself. Horses will now do a dressage dance when the /dance emote is used while mounted. So, yup, your horse will dance after tomorrow. Dismounting will reset your swim skill. You can no longer be mounted in Red Willow. You'll now dismount in tavern zones. Mounts will now work in the wilderness areas of the Underdark, and some additional idle, jumping, swimming, and galloping animation and sound work, I believe as well, has also been done on mounts. So that's the mount stuff we got coming. And then finally we have a whole bunch of various quest-related work. You may have seen a thread recently that Flimsy Firewood put in asking for kind of low-hanging fruit on quest fixes, areas which were frankly just ridiculously difficult for their level or something like that. So, we are Here's for the quest and adventure area section. Corrected an issue that could prevent characters from recalling out of the keep on the Borderlands Wilderness area. That'll be fixed. Gatekeeper in the Hall of Heroes and Korthos will now send players directly to the keep public area. The return portal and the keep exit will now provide options to return either to the Hall of Heroes or Korthos. Fixed an issue where it could be difficult to pick up that crest of the spider in the keep wilderness. Kobold, Orc, and Gnoll charms of evil chaos will no longer drop on player death. Several other small landscape adjustments done in Keep. Total Chaos, Eula and Oro will no longer get stuck in certain doors. Watch your step. The Kobold Runner is now named Kobold Runner. House of Pain, a door will no longer automatically close in your face, and some dialogue timing has been adjusted. Smash and Burn. Sorry, Nice Healer. We'll just let me go grab the screenshot so I can get you guys your points later. But I'm just gonna run this anyway.
Victor asked you to wait for him outside.
Let's see. Smash and Burn. A ladder and platform have been added to make the jump room easier to navigate if you have a low jump score.
I'll cough when it's time for us to part ways. What you do after that, it's none of my business.
Smash and Burn. Special cargo crates will now sparkle, just like vampires. Smash and Burn. Fewer mobsters now spawn in the first hall. That's a Dungeon Alert issue. Fresh Baked Dreams, as I mentioned, I believe last week, fewer wolves and earth elementals will spawn, and the hags will no longer cast Comet Fall or Acid Fog. The chest in the windmill is now the end chest, and there is a second end chest in the windmill for players who complete the hard optional. Stopping the Sahaugen, reducing the damage from one of the traps. Thank you, Hardcore League. Okay, someone had actually mentioned earlier which is one of the most deadly dungeons in the Hardcore League. That's one of them. That's totally one of them. You wouldn't think so, but it was that ice trap at the end with the spider. Holy moly, did that take people out. So we're kind of nerfing it a little bit. Ruins of Thunderholm fixed a door that could get stuck. Amber Temple, the absent-minded lich, is once again helpful toward players. Can be healed by magical, helped by magical means. No longer help if they get hurt. Madness of Crown, speaking with Brawn Pits when he returns, counts toward an objective, whether the rest shrine was used or not. Best laid plans, fix an issue that could cause the quest to not complete if you killed the enemies too quickly. And then in Slavers of the Shrieking Mines, the failure condition is being removed. 2 optionals are going to replace it. Rescued miners will now give extra XP instead of failing the quest. The map has also been made less confusing. And that's where we sit right now for the update 44.1 release notes.
Someone is burning the midnight oil behind this door, but the sturdy door is fitted with an even sturdier lock. You'll have to find another way in.
That's true. I think on a raw would we sell more scenario, we probably would sell some more of those Wishes of Inheritance if it worked with Blade of Jack Jibbers, but unfortunately, like I say, it only works on equipable items, and the Blade of Jack Jibbers is never actually equipped, so it'd be a little weird to suddenly make it work, and I'm not sure what the halo on that would be, but I imagine it might be a little significant. There we go. So, historically, we, for the most part, are not able to do sentient jewels for specific characters, like, for example, a Yalthun or a Militia jewel. They have to be more like kind of non-significant NPCs, I guess. So, the idea of a Militia or a Yalthu gem is cool, but probably not too likely.
You hear a gruff voice howl. The roof! The roof! A more measured voice responds.
Man, I am bad at this map. I never know where I'm going.
The excited no bounces around. The roof is on fire! An otherworldly air of confidence surrounds the handsome being, who appears to be their leader. Let's pick up the pace, shall we? We still have to destroy the lab downstairs. Portal, please.
Can't go in there,
Why not
right?
just take the stairs? Asked the tiefling. Because Victor told us not to be seen. Now then, portal.
Where am I going? I don't even know where I'm going.
You on the way out.
Oops.
Turns and howls. Burn, Father Hunger! Burn!
Yeah, I always get turned around here. I have no idea where I'm going. I thought it was a tunnel, but I'm not seeing it now. So yeah, you could do something like, let's just say, a Mind Flayer jewel, or you could do a East. Oh, there it is. Okay. And is that up? Up. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So yeah, we could theoretically do that. I haven't heard of any plans to add to the sentient jewel itinerary, but never say never on that stuff.
You hear a familiar voice somewhere nearby. It's Victor, acting surprised. Oh, what's all this? Just dear Orient, we have a security breach! Yeah, quickly, find them!
Yeah, I think the idea of the Soul Splitter as a kind of lore function to create sentient jewels is a real interesting one. That's cool. I like that idea. Still waiting on that dragon jewel? Yeah.
Whatever documents were
I'd say odds are good that'll happen someday.
There might be something
I just don't know when.
on the ladder, or wherever those mercenaries went.
Ice Games coming. That usually is in January. Usually Festival is December, and the Resia Ice Games and Midwinter Festival are in January. So I would imagine that's the case this year as well.
You can't touch me! This is one of Vaught's prototypes! Make me completely invincible! Hector presses a button. The sphere of force closes in around.
Ooh, Jewel narrated by Satine. That would be rad. You hear that, Satine? If you're listening, DDO needs you yet again. Any chance of us supporting the NVIDIA RTX? That's a ray tracing thing. I'm gonna say no on ray tracing. I have heard of no plans to do ray tracing for DDO. And it doesn't seem like it's been adopted even all that much by the wider gaming audience. So I mean, it's cool, but I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for us. I mean, it's only people who have like certain expensive video cards and all the rest. I don't know.
Wait, now how do I get out? I'm stuck here. Victor clearly didn't think this through.
Those expensive video cards eventually become inexpensive? Yeah, sure. So maybe in 5 to 10 years when they're not $1,000 each or something, you know? We could do like a gaming headset giveaway. That would usually be something that would be done through some kind of basically shared ad deal with like a hardware manufacturer, like something like that. I think back in the old Turbine days, we did something like that for Infinite Crisis, if I recall.
Teleport away.
They were giving away gaming headsets and stuff. Physical giveaways, though, frankly, are a real pain in the keister. There's all sorts of laws, consumer laws, especially in Europe, that come into play when you're trying to give away an actual physical object. Which is usually why they're not eligible to win US awards, is because the European laws regarding raffles and giveaways is robust. Uh-oh. I guess, All right, let's just call it. It's 105. I think there's a certain Semis Garobo who needs to get on, so we'll just let him do that. All right, thanks for watching the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream. Oh, actually, before I wrap up, let me actually mention one thing. At the very start of the show, someone had asked about the Oculus working for DDO. Because there's some kind of thingy where basically you can get the Oculus Rift, the VR headset, to work with any PC game. I have not heard specifically about DDO, but I have heard about Lord of the Rings Online, and since they're running on the same engine, I believe the experience would be very similar. That experience is that you can get things technically working in the Oculus Rift using that kind of mod, whatever it is, but that the UI elements for our games, and a lot of other games, but our games in particular, don't scale distance-wise. So what you end up with is a pretty cool-looking landscape and everything that you can see. But all the things like your character sheet, party thing, just like real stuck in your face in a way that is nigh unplayable, is the way it's been described to me. So I would say that while technically it may work, we're not there yet in terms of just kind of plug-and-play compatibility on DDO and VR. Fierce Red, really would like to play Keep, cannot get past the loading screen. Yes, we've discussed that several times, 5 or 6 times throughout the show today. It is one of our highest priorities to look into the lag and performance issues that you're reporting, and that is something we will be working on. Well, we have been working on throughout the show today, throughout the day, even yesterday, which was a snow day. We ended up getting like a foot of snow in Massachusetts. So yes, that is a priority. As soon as I know more, I will be letting you know. I don't know if there's a performance difference on DDO on Linux as opposed to Windows. I've never run Linux. Sorry. All right, that is going to do it with the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream. I'll be back next Wednesday with more information. Like I say, stay tuned. We got December deals kicking off tomorrow. 10% Heroic Epic XP Boost, Update 44.1, and some other stuff as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.